boys and girls, students of Sunday school, students of Dhamma classes, and all secondary students, youth members, parents, and grandparents, and teachers of Buddhist Sunday school and Dhamma classes. Good morning. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. We're going to have a presentation involving another story that teaches very good life lessons or moral lessons. And this story is quite well known and it has appeared at different sources, slightly different versions sometimes. And some of you might have heard this before, but we have done a new PowerPoint and there are some variations and we are going to discuss the life lessons at the end of the story. Now, for this PowerPoint, the texts are in English and Malay, but the narration and the explanation and comments all will be in English. So we are going to go over the story slide by slide to explain things more clearly to you. And then, most important, at the end, we will discuss the Dhamma teachings or the life lessons. So now, let us show the PowerPoint presentation. So slideshow from the beginning. Now you see the cover slide. As you can see in the pictures, you have certain things you have noted. This old man, right? This old man was a farmer. In this story, he's a farmer and he's an old man. And he has a horse. Actually, the horse is white in color, but this I put in just a horse. And he lives in the farm. And that is this image of the farmer. So, petani tua dan kuda near, the old farmer and his horse. A meaningful story. So, we are going to start the story. So, we go on to slide number 2. Now, let us start the story. Once upon a time, there lived an old farmer in a village. This setting probably is in China. And this old farmer, he lives in a village and he tends to his farm. He's an old man. And then, of course, you have the village people also around, right? He was very poor, right? He had to work, maybe to grow some crops, and then maybe to rear some, animals or cows or goats or whatever. But he did not have a lot of money. But he was quite peaceful and happy, right? That's the important thing. So even though he was poor, but the word spread that this man was very peaceful, this old man, and he had a horse. He had a beautiful white horse. And the king of the kingdom, together with kings of other kingdoms also, they heard of this. They were quite jealous of him, And probably the king of the kingdom also had come to see the white horse. So they had never seen such a beautiful white horse. As you can see, such a horse had never been seen before. So the king was very interested in this. The king asked the old man, that is the farmer, to sell the horse to him. He was offered a fantastic price for the horse, The king is so wealthy, So he said, you can ask for any price, he can get that money. So now the interesting question is, did the old man sell the white horse? This white horse, very, very special horse, and the old man loved the horse very, very much. It's there, So let's see what his reply was. Now, maybe I let you read the introduction first before we go on to the next slide. Okay, so now you can see these 3 pictures of the old man in the village, the beautiful white horse, And then the king, he looks a Chinese emperor, something like that. But he was quite a just king. He wouldn't just simply cast up people's property away, to take people's things away. He's not that type. He will rule according to the law, you see. Now let us go on to slide number 3. Now, what did the old man tell the king when the king asked him to sell the white horse? However, the old man told the king, this horse is not just a horse to me. It's just not a horse to me. No, it's like a family member to me. I love him very much. So how can I sell my family member? Right? So his neighbors, who also came to see, tried to convince him to sell sell the horse wow, I can get a lot of money, But the old man would not. So he was very special in the sense that it was just not money that would make him happy. All right. So he treasured the horse as a family member. Now you would not sell your family member, isn't it? Somebody you love so much. So so the thing went on, and then one day something happened. One morning, the old man, the farmer, suddenly found that the horse was not in the stable. Of course, it's just a picture of a very beautiful stable. But actually, in that farm, it was a very simple shape only. A stable is the kandang, the place where the animal stays. It can be a horse or maybe a cow also. So, no longer there, my white horse. But the old man, I suppose he must have cultivated the Dhamma either in the previous lives or what. He was not angry, sad, or things like that. His mind was very, very steady one. So he just, just noted that the horse was not in the stable already, that's all. So then you see what will happen. Soon the news spread. Very, small village, and then you have nearby villages, everybody would know all the arrests, that sort of thing. Now let us go on to slide number 4. So the whole village gathered at his home. In these rural areas, people are very close to one another. Your neighbors, you know all your neighbors, and they would come visiting each other, some gossiping and all sorts. So the whole village gathered at his home, and when they found out that the horse was missing, they scolded the old man. "Hey, you foolish man, we knew it beforehand already that someday the horse would be stolen. You are so poor. It would have been better if you had sold it and you have got a lot of money. You have got a fantastic price. Now the horse is gone. It is a misfortune for you. It is a curse, to lose that horse, the white horse where you could have exchanged by selling for a very huge price. So like that. The old man just listened very calmly, right, to what all the neighbors were saying, including telling him that he is a foolish man. Actually, people have the right for to make the decision, isn't it? Right? Most important is if a person is happy deciding on that thing and that decision is not harming anybody, that should be okay. You think everybody must follow one way, man, right? This fellow is not money-minded at all. He really love the horse. Okay, now let us go on to slide number 5 now. The old man was very, very calm, right? When he heard the neighbors telling him this and sort of, making fun of him also, calling him you foolish man. Then the old man just said calmly, don't say so much. Just say the horse is not in the stable. Whether it is bad luck or good luck, who knows? Wow, I find it's very good Dhamma. No? He accepts the happening, and then he says, what is to come? Good, bad, who knows? Right? Whether it's bad luck or good luck, who knows? The people, seeing that he was not angry or sad, he was so calm, they laughed at him. No? They thought the old man had gone mad. Orang gila lah. Itu kuda sudah hilang. Masih dia tenang dan tidak marah atau tidak sedih. No, they were thinking like this. Then, of course, the thoughts went through the minds of the villagers. Yeah, if he has sold his horse, he would have been able to live with great wealth and not live from hand to mouth. From hand to mouth means live in a very poor way. In poverty and misery. There is a Malay proverb that says, seperti ayam kais pagi, makan pagi, kais petang, makan petang. I remember that now when I studied a long, long time ago. So it was very, very poor. So, these villagers, were just like, most people thinking that, well, if you have a lot of money, you'll be very, very happy. But this old man was different. He considered the horse a member of the family. And he loved the horse, and the horse gave him a lot of joy and happiness. So he would not trade it even for all the money that he could get. Well, we have to respect that decision. Not many people are like that. The bottom line, the important thing is he's happy, peaceful, contented. But today, we see people are so greedy and they want more and more. We discuss more of this in the Dhamma discussion. So that was what happened, right? The old man very calmly replied, told the neighbors, you don't say so much of this. Just say the horse is not in the stable. Good, bad, who knows? Now let us go on to slide number 6 now. So time passed. So the horse went missing for some days. So 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, so many days passed. And then after 15 days, I put in the animated, you could see a calendar, 1 day after another day, another day. 15 days passed, and one night something happened. Suddenly, one night, the horse returned. The white horse returned. The white horse of this old farmer. Actually, the horse had not been stolen. Actually, as the villagers say, they just assume he had actually escaped to the wilderness out in the wild. That means maybe in the forest or jungle. Not maybe a distance from the farm. So he had just escaped there. And now, not only did he come back to the old man and be in the farm again, but he brought with him 12 wild horses with him. So he was a very special horse, a type of leader, right? Very, very unique. So he brought back 12 wild horses. Wow, the news spread the next morning. All the villagers, we can say most of the villagers came to the farmer's place once more. And they say to the farmer, wow, this is such a stroke of good luck. You have really good luck. Things are going so well. That's what they say. So these are just pictures showing some of the farmers. Not very accurate because they're so well dressed also. But these are just pictures to liven up the thing. Not easy to get the exact picture unless you draw it, which I can't. And not easy to get people to draw the thing to suit the story exactly. Just give you an idea, that's all. So now we are at slide number 7 now. Right. And again, when the old man heard all these villagers saying, wow, congratulations, you're so lucky, you're so blessed. We thought that the horse was stolen, and now they have come back. You are blessed, you have now, how many horses? Your white horse has brought back 12 other horses. Then the old man said, no, don't say so much. Just say that the horse is back and that 12 other horses have come with the horse. 12 other wild horses have come. Don't judge whether it is bad luck or good luck. Don't judge whether it's good or bad. As the saying goes, good, bad, who knows? We don't know. Right? So the old man, this very, very fantastic sort of attitude and very insightful Dhamma, right? No, actually it's true. You wouldn't know what will happen with 12 wild horses coming to his farm. But these people, they would always think of money. So this time the people kept silent. But they knew that 12 beautiful horses, even though they were wild horses, had come back with the white horse. And they were thinking, wow, all these assumptions and, projections. So they say, oh, with a little training, these wild horses, after being tamed, could all be sold, and this would fetch much money for the old farmer, They were softly discussing among themselves. But the old man just remained very calm and just said the words as now I said, don't say so much. Just say that the horse is back. And then now the fact is 12 other horses have come with the horse. Don't judge the situation. Is it bad luck or is it good luck? Who knows? Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? So he's, applying very good Dhamma. He will just look at the present situation, embrace whatever happens there like that, right? So the people left him like that lah. Now let us see what is to happen. You will probably have questions like, will the wild horses cause harm to the farmer and his family? Would they damage his farm? Many people will start thinking all these things, but not the old man, right? Actually, you must bear in mind, they actually were wild horses, right? So, let us see what happens. So, we are going to move to slide number 8 now. Now, the old man had a young son, and this boy was the only son in the family. The story here did not say how old, but I gather he should be maybe just a teenager, right? A teenager. Because later on you see the flow of the story that he couldn't be just a small boy in the primary school. He was probably, of maybe a Form 3 age already. But then in the rural area, they do not go to school or things like that, right? So this young son, that's why I say that he's not that small boy. He probably maybe 15, 16 years old already. He could even ride the horse. You can see the picture, you see. So the young son, but of course, compared to the father, he's very young. But the story does not tell about the other members of the family, his wife and the other children. It was just focused on this. This is a story. So the young boy, because he also had been staying in the farm, and from young he had been riding also the white horse. So actually he knew about horses also. So he thought that he could train the wild horses, right? The old man, of course, also could train also, right? So the young son started to train the wild horses because he thought that he was very familiar with horses, being with the white horse for quite a long time already, so familiar. But then one day an accident happened. While training one of the horses, the young boy fell from one of the wild horses and broke his legs. So this sort of things can happen. It was an accident, right? An accident. So he fell from one of the wild horses. To train a wild horse is not easy. You have seen pictures or movie or video of the rodeo. You see in the Wild West, some of the horses so wild, so the cowboys try to tame the horses. So the horse wouldn't like it. You go on top of them, the horses wouldn't like. They will try to throw you out, right? But in this case, he just said that the boy fell off. He didn't say that the wild horse really chucked him off to. He didn't say that. So that is this. You can see how can be quite dangerous. But anyway, the fact is, he fell off. He fell off from the wild horse, one of the wild horses. And then he hurt his legs. His legs were broken, probably fracture of the legs and so on, right? At the time, of course, they did not have specialists and sent to hospital. They will use the traditional village medicine and so on, all this, this sort of thing. So you can see the picture, the young, some pain and so on. So that was what happened. So the news spread already. The only son. He stated the only son, but probably he might have some daughters. But ancient times, and now also people prefer sons to many people prefer sons to daughters. So ancient time, they also were like that. They all focus on the sons. So he might have some daughters, not stated, not important or the line of the story. So So the old man had only one son, right? And now he had fallen from the wild horse and the legs were broken. So the news spread so fast that people came again. Small kampung like that, on the piece of news, they will all gather, very friendly in a way also. That spirit. Not like now in Kuala Lumpur, you would know your neighbors and so on. Things have changed a lot. So the people gathered again and again their judgment. They judge situation like that. Very quickly they said, "Ayah, your only son has lost his legs." Actually, he didn't lose the legs really lah. Right? He had broken legs lah, maybe some fracture. And he's the only support for you, and you are now old. This is such bad luck and blah, 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 blah again. Projecting, ayo, now you had it lah. Your son, no more legs already. How is he going to support you? How is he going to take over your farm? All those blah, 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 blah. All those things. People are like that. They like to judge. They make assumptions. Right? Instead of saying positive words, they will say more negative words. And the old man very calmly again said, "Don't say so much. Just say, my son has broken his legs, not losing the legs. Whether this is bad luck or good luck, who knows? Who knows? We don't know what is going to happen." In other words, if a person is wise, you could think also, well, yeah, an accident happens, and he had broken his legs, and they had treated him with the traditional ways in the kampung and so on. He might recover after maybe some months or what, and then he could actually walk also. We also don't know. So the old man, very wise, said, bad luck, good luck, who knows? Isn't it? Very interesting. So from here you can see right, all sorts of people, but very rare to find a person like this old man with that type of attitude. So you see that he was not overwhelmed by sorrow or anger or frustration or being upset. He accepted it, that it was an accident. Probably he also knew that the son had gone on top of the white horse for umpteen years already. So it's not that he didn't know anything, you see. So an accident could happen, you see. So he accepted it very peacefully. A very, very good philosophy of life. Now let us go on to slide number 9 now. Then the weeks pass. It's not stated how many weeks, right? So they were living in a kingdom, right? Or you can say a country. And there will be nearby kingdoms actually, right? But they say there were nearby countries also, small countries. Actually, mostly maybe kingdoms also, right? So after a few weeks, wow, the news came already. Words reached the village that the country was going to war with the neighboring country. So, and of course, there was the government, or you could say the king also, with the officers and the people in charge of governing the country. So, the country was going to war with the neighboring country. So, all the young men in the town and village were possibly taken to serve the military. The king, very powerful, or you can say even if he's a government, very powerful, they can pass laws that there will be what we call conscription. Conscription means now the country going to war, so all those young men from maybe even 14 onwards, right? You will be recruited to serve the military already. Either you go to the battlefront to fight, or you could be helping out in the camps and so on, doing the chores, helping to cook, and all this. In the war, you need so many people, isn't it? Some will go and fight, right? Especially the older ones. And maybe the younger ones, 14, 15, they might have duties also. To wash the uniforms of the soldiers, to boil water. A lot of things to be done, so that to serve the military. Be taken away from your homes, So the military officers visited all the villages, including the farm. So for the other villagers, they took away. They took away the young men in the town and the village. Other villages also. But when they came to this old farm, or rather the old farmer's home, then they saw that he got one son. And that son, as I say just now, you could say that he was maybe 15 or 16, something like that, lah, young, lah, but it's not a boy really anymore, lah, right? So he should be taken like the other people. But they saw that he was actually having problem moving also. And the picture here shows that he's on crutches, right? At that time, probably they didn't have the wheelchair, so they would use some, wooden crutches to support them to help to move. And then the leg will be bandaged up and so on. So then the officers saw this, useless, this fellow cannot serve the military one. Can't even walk properly. Right? So the farmer's son was not taken by the military officers. Why? Because they said, such a man with broken legs, a cripple, could not serve in the military, be a burden. Got to tend to him. So they left. So they took all the other young men of the other villages, but this boy, or you can say this young man, was not taken. So he could remain in the kampung. So you can see the picture here. The country went to war with a neighboring country, or you can say kingdom also lah. And those days when they fought in the war, what sort of ways? You might have seen some movies, horses, elephants, and no guns or things like that. But they used arrows, bows and arrows, and then the spears, and then the long sticks that have a sharp end. All these will serve as weapons. Or they might have some knives, or maybe they have axe also. Yes, axes. All sorts of all conventional weapons. They will kill. You have seen so many who will kill the enemies. That's a terrible thing. War is a terrible thing. Those days, ever since time immemorial, men are like that. Hateful towards other people, cannot live with metta and so on. So there will be all throughout history, there will be wars, and until today, you still have that. Right? How many bombings of countries have taken place already? And today, you still have wars in Myanmar, right? You see, and now you see the war that's been going on for more than 1 year already. Russia invaded Ukraine, and then the war is still going on. And how many hundreds of thousands have died? And some lost their legs. This is a terrible thing. So you find that is men. More men who are deluded and have maybe evil deeds than people who are really like saints and who are very good. That is the life that you are in. It is samsara, the world of suffering. So that's why you have to practice the Dhamma to try to get out of this suffering world. So this picture shows that all the young men of the town were forcibly taken. There is no choice. It's a law. They send the generals or the officers and they will force the young men to go with them already. Not only in the town, but also the villages. So that was the situation. And as I told you, they left the young man, the farmer's only son, they did not take. Why? Because he had broken his legs. So now let us go on to slide number 10 now. So again, the news spread very, very fast, in a rural area, of course, they don't have newspaper or internet or things like that, right? So actually, it will depend on word of mouth, right? So word of mouth, I was telling you that this old farmer had the farm and he grew some crops. So probably he had also some vegetables to sell, and then also maybe some eggs from the hens laying the eggs. So there will be people from maybe the nearby town also, or other villages, they will come and buy from him, and that's how they got the news And then the moment they went back, so wow, the thing spread to the nearby villages. So again, all the village people gathered around the farmer's house already. But this time, the villagers that they came, the villagers that came, they were crying and weeping, Not like last time, wow, very excited, and then people would like to comment. This time they were just crying, and they were telling, "Yo, so terrible, all our young sons all were taken by the military officers already." So they complained. They said, our sons are very likely could not come back already. Why? because their country, I mean their country was fighting against a bigger country, and the bigger country very powerful, they have more soldiers and blah, 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 blah. That is all the speculation as they cry and they say all these words. Right. So you see, we always will project into the future, right? That what will happen and so on, all this. Because they knew that the country smaller than the other country that was at war with this their country. So the old man just listened to this, and then after having complained and talk a lot already, then they turned to the old man. So this time, what did they tell the old man? Right? So after all the crying, weeping, and complaining, and saying their sons will not come back already because sure our country will lose. Negative things. Our country will lose the war. Our children will, the sons will probably die already, or maybe crippled, and all those, all the negative things said already. Then they say to the old man, "You were right. You have a great blessing. Your son, not taken away, so lucky. Your son may be crippled, Actually, not really crippled for life, Actually, your son might have broken the legs, but at least he can still be with you." And then now probably they even would say, and maybe in some months, your son also, the legs could heal already. Now they could say all these things. So, talking all the speculative things. Actually, we don't know what is the future like, isn't it? Right? So you see, then they again started again saying, telling the old man, "Our sons will probably not be able to return to us because they will fall victims in the war. The other side very powerful, many soldiers, and our sons are probably will die, So the old man listened to this because they keep on, after that keep on saying, "You are truly blessed, you are so lucky that you still have the son with you." Last time I was saying that you are really unlucky, you are cursed or you are condemned, but now I say you are very lucky, you are blessed. The old man was not the least excited. Most people say, "Yeah luckily, this thing, so they never say that sort of thing also." Wisdom, the words of wisdom came. The old man again said, "You people should not say so much." Maybe he also gave them some Dhamma. You're speculating. How do we know your son might come back? We don't know really. How do you know that the big country will win? You have cases actually, this one is my comments. You have cases when small countries fought against the big countries. The small country won, I remember in 1967, there was a war in the Middle East. They call it the 6-Day War. So there was this small country called Israel. And this small country, Israel, was surrounded by the enemy countries, right? Like Lebanon, Jordan, and then Egypt even. So many other big countries, I think more than 5 of them were surrounding the small country, and the war broke out. But the small country, you find the people were really high quality, and they knew how to plan, quality instead of quantity. So in 6 days' time, the small country won the war. They even conquered certain parts of the other countries, like in Egypt, in Jordan, right, in Syria. Wow, imagine. So this also good. This actually happened in history. That one is true. So this is what the message is. They wouldn't know what actually. Don't make assumption and project and all those things, and then get yourself into much dukkha. So the old man again said, he said, "You people should not say so much. Your sons," there's a spelling mistake I have typed. "Your sons have gone to war, but my crippled son was not taken by the military. You call my son crippled, probably he just want to just add to their words, my crippled son. Actually, he says my son who had broken his legs. Actually, that was the fact, was not taken by the military. Good luck, bad luck, who knows? Very wise, isn't it? So now the situation is, the other young man who, didn't have any medical problems, right? So taken all to be at the war by the military. But this person, this young man, the only son of the farmer, had broken his legs, and he was not taken away Whether he will be taken later on also nobody would know lah. This is my addition of it to show how we can think. And then what is to come, we also don't know. Whether he will recover or not also don't know, right? And then also, how would the war turn out to be also don't know, isn't it? They could lose the war, and then another country will take over, and what is to come also don't know. So all this is uncertain. So now you're saying that, oh, now you have good luck. Last time I was saying very bad luck. The actual truth is something that is going to happen in the future, you don't know. So good, bad, who knows? Good luck, bad luck, who knows? Wow, real words of wisdom. So he accepted whatever came very peacefully. So here you can see this one again, another picture showing the neighbors, villagers all dressed so beautifully, Chinese style or Japanese style. These are all just pictures. Actually, they were actually farmers and common villagers. They will not be dressed like this one actually, but this is just to illustrate. Right? It's not easy to get all those relevant pictures, and this is also a picture to show what happens during a war. It's so terrible. I've seen movies. Actually, there are also actual cases like First World War, Second World War. Movies have been made of some of the terrible battles that were fought in Europe, right? In France or in Germany and so on. So terrible. But that time, in the First World War, Second World War, it was not just the horses, no horses. They had tanks already. They have cannons, They have also the guns already that time. And the Second World War, the time, of course, they have hand grenades and dynamite, all these. But finally, the Second World War ended because America invented that atomic bomb and dropped the bombs at these two places, Nagasaki, Hiroshima in Japan, because Japan, together with Germany, were on the other side. America, Britain, France, right? They were on one side. So two sides are fighting in the Second World War, isn't it? So I think you know the history. In the end, the war ended, was it 1945 or something like that? So it was very, very terrible. How many millions of people lost their lives? How many suffered, with the I think at that time, the time they could drop the not the atomic bomb, but the other type of smaller bombs already, they also could send in those terrible things already. Second World War, 1940 something, they could do that already. But that time, during the time when this story took place, the wars were conventional wars. They have the shields, they have the spears, the lancets, the bows and arrows. All these things kill the fox also. Sorry, not the fox, the axe also. The axe also you will use, and the sharp knives, like swords. I like you can say swords. So this person who had broken his legs was not involved in the war zone. So stayed behind in the farm. So the story actually ended like this. Did not tell about that because he wanted to convey that very important message. So now I let you read the ending part. You can read in Malay, and then after that we go on to the important slide, the last slide that will discuss the Dhamma. So I suppose you have read either the English or the Malay. Doesn't matter if you cannot finish. So let us see now the Dhamma discussion. I've taken some Dhamma teachings as could be. I try to choose those that have a bearing with the story, connected. So we can learn a lot of things just from a simple story like this. So now let us go on to the last slide, as I always do. Usually I will do that. The last slide will convey the important Dhamma. So now let us go on to there are 4 Dhamma teachings, or you can say life lessons, moral lessons, life lessons. And why we have this? Because these life lessons or Dhamma teachings are very important to help people to have the correct thinking, the correct attitude, the correct views right views, so that you will be able to live more peacefully, happily, and also you will be able to cope, to handle, cope with situations which can be very, very difficult. But the world is like that, you know. You have all sorts of things can happen. There are some not developed in their minds. They have not learned enough Dhamma. So as a result, wow, they cannot face the situations. I think you have heard so many cases already. Boy and girl, they pak tor already. So they're supposed to get married, you know. But after some years, one of them chucked the other already. There was this case many years ago, a doctor, no, I don't name them. A doctor, his girlfriend went for another man and didn't want him. And he couldn't cope with the situation. These are happening. Of course, it's sad, right? It's sad. But if you have the Dhamma, you can handle it well, isn't it? So, you know what he did? He committed suicide by jumping down from a high-rise building, even though he was a doctor, you know. So that does not mean that you study at the university that you can solve all the problems of life. But if you don't have important what we call life lessons, that's why the Dhamma teachings are very, very important. And the gift of Dhamma excels or surpasses all other gifts. But sad to say, not many people want to learn and place importance on this Dhamma. Like Sunday school, how many children do you have? So they are more interested in the worldly things, how to become very rich, more and more money, how to have big cars, or maybe how to get dato titles, or tune titles, and then how to have more houses, how to buy the Ferrari, all these worldly things. I'm not saying you cannot earn a living, but sad to say, they do not learn the very important things in life until one day suddenly you wouldn't know, cancer strikes the person, or he meets with an accident and he gets paralyzed, or he has some very, very serious illness, terminal or whatever. So all the riches that you have, all the big titles that you own, all the degrees that you have, all mean nothing. You'll be suffering on weight and everything. And you find your mind is very miserable because you don't have the Dhamma to handle it, to help you to handle. This story, of course, the one with the Dhamma was the old man, the farmer. So that's why I want to emphasize to you that these life lessons, you can say Dhamma teachings, are very important. But many do not have the patience. Boring. Right? They want to listen to the story only. So let us now go on to the first of the four. So you find that all written in Malay and English. All things are impermanent. Wu Chang. It's true, isn't it? Nothing can last forever, isn't it? Even your house one day can, break off. Your car also can wear down, isn't it? You are famous, get the title one day also, somebody accuses you, also can fall. So nothing is certain. We know the fact is 生老病死. You are born, and then you will grow old, there will be sickness, there will be death. Everybody will go through that, you see. And then the other thing you have to learn is, the future is uncertain and unknown. This is illustrated in the story. The old man knew that what is to come, we don't know. It's a mystery. The future is unknown, uncertain. That's why somebody says, tomorrow is uncertainty, is a mystery. Yeah, it's true. Even the best fortune tellers, you think they can all the time 100% predict correct, man? You can't. The future depends on the conditions and other factors. So when you know like this, then you have a very good way of thinking that you will not be attached and you can see the things more clearly. Then you find you're more peaceful. And that's what is shown by the wise old farmer. He could accept things. So you say good, bad, who knows? So you say you always come to this conclusion, oh, this one very good, very good, very good, I'm very excited. So when that thing falls, you cannot accept already. So whatever comes, you realize that this is impermanent. What is to come later on, we don't know. Of course, you can feel happy for a while, but don't attach. Right? You find that things can change. So this is very, very important lesson. That everything will pass. Everything is transient or temporary. Right? This is the characteristic of our suffering world. So if you don't want like that, you want something that goes on perfect peace and everything, no such thing as uncertainty, unknown, then there's only one goal only, and that is Nibbana, enlightened already. That means enter Nibbana. And that is the only state you can say permanent and is always perfect happiness, peace, wisdom, all the good. But that is the final goal. It is a challenge to try to work towards that goal. But on the way, you will get the benefits already, even you not have got the final goal yet. So that is this first of the Dhamma teachings that you have to note very, very carefully. Right? So now let us go on to the second Dhamma teaching. This old man also really had a good grasp. He understood this is one of the important teachings. All are affected by the 8 worldly winds. Well, the 8 worldly winds, that means the 8, actually the term is vicissitudes of life. That means the changing conditions in our life, in this world like that, not in the Nibbana. So, one, pleasure and pain. This will come and go. Like for example, right? So when the horse went missing, and then the villagers say, oh, stolen already lah. So this one is supposed to be a negative situation, right? There is pain for most people, will be so terrible. But this wise old man, he knew that this happens sometimes, right? So I would not react to it because that is life. Everybody will be subjected to that. There will be times where you have pleasure. Like for example, wow, the horse brought back later on a dozen other horses, isn't it? Wow, that's something very, very good. You could become rich and so on. That's what you think also. But that too will not last and you don't know what's going to happen. So you accept it, okay. It's quite comfortable with it, everything except that thing. Right? What is to come, you still wouldn't know. That's why good, bad, it doesn't know. So you find your mind is in a very strong state, willing to accept anything peacefully. Right? Gain and loss, you know very well. Sometimes you gain things like people who can gamble and find in the casino, sometimes they win, very, very happy. Then a few days later, they lose all the things. Very, very sad. Some commit suicide. Win, they can accept. Loss, they cannot. So you see, that is the weakness. So you have to learn the Dhamma to understand. You understand clearly whatever comes. If you can change it, you change. You cannot, you accept peacefully. That is wisdom. Praise and blame. Wow, you are in school. Wow, the teachers praise you. You are so hardworking. You are so helpful. Everything. Wow, what happens? I think if you have a tail, your tail also goes up to the roof. Or your head gets swollen, which is not good also. Being very arrogant. But then later on, your friends, right, jealous of you, and then they accuse you, and then the other thing happens, people blame you. It's terrible. This girl did something, you go and tackle the girl, go and try to molest. All the wrong things that people blame you, I think, how will you take it? Isn't it? So this is inevitable. It will happen. And then the fourth set is honor, dishonor. Sometimes you're very, very famous, as you can see in the K-pop or the world of Hollywood. Wow, very, very famous. Then the next moment now, the last time very famous was this what do you call it? The type of dance, Gangnam style or don't know what forgotten already. Then after that, not famous already, another thing. Similarly, whatever, right? This fella becomes very famous, then later on, no name at all. Likewise, also, at one time, you are very well known as a prime minister of a country, and so on. Next time also, another time will come and you can end up in jail also. So honor, dishonor, these sort of things or this. So how your mind is going to take it, right? So you see how important it is. You have to learn the life lessons. Of course, I cannot tell you at great length. It's a very long thing to learn the Dhamma. Lots of things you can learn. But these 8 worldly winds are very important things. So many people suffer because they cannot understand. They cannot really see the 8 worldly winds. Yeah, I know lah. Pleasure, pain, gain and loss, I know lah. Praise and blame. You know, but then you don't really see it. You don't realize it. You say, yeah, sometimes painful, sometimes happiness. You say, okay, you sit for an exam, you will get A lah, right? But then when you don't practice the Dhamma, when that unfortunate thing happens to you, you tell yourself, this one impermanent, everything, but still you feel inside very sad, isn't it? Terrible. Why? Because you have not really practiced the Dhamma well accordingly. I experienced this in my life also. Wow, knows a lot of things, no, but the things happen and then cannot accept already. So you see, it's very important to practice. Then you will ask, what sort of things I should practice? Basically, for lay people, there are three things only. Dana, Sila, Bhavana. And Dana is charity, helping people, donating to the needy ones, in so many ways, right? Generosity, giving, all these are 布施. So that is a very important thing. It will develop certain very good qualities. You cut your ego, for example, yourself. Then you begin to be more compassionate. And these will contribute to the wisdom coming out already. Then the other one, the Sila, is the morality, where you have to observe, for lay people, the 5 basic moral rules. No killing, no stealing, or taking what is not given to you, no sexual misconduct, adultery, for example, zina in Malay, and then no lying. But actually, if you extend it, it's not just no lying. You have 3 other things you must not do. No slander, telling bad about other people, carrying tales that other people quarrel, groups quarrel. That is bad, right? And then the third one, no harsh speech. Don't use all those terrible words, rough words, foul language, and so on. This weakens the mind, And then the fourth one is no gossip. Speaking aimless thing, frivolous talk. Talk or words that don't benefit people, that waste a lot of time. So these 4 things are actually also constitute the morality pertaining to speech. They have to practice right speech. And then, of course, you have 3 things of the mind. The mind, you have to check that they don't have the greed, they don't have the anger or hatred, and then they don't have the delusion. They don't have the ignorance, that not believing in karma, not having right view. All those things will contribute to your dukkha. So this is how we develop the mind, dana, sila, right? So I told you these 2. The third one is the most difficult and most challenging, most important, that has the most benefit. And that is to change your views to the right direction. If you have wrong views, wrong thinking, wrong thoughts, and wrong attitude, then you have to cultivate the mind so that the mind becomes having the right attitude, right thoughts. Then now you do all these 3, and bhavana also involves meditation, right? Listening to the Dhamma, like what we do. You find nearly all my talks, I will have the bhavana there. That means to develop the mind with right thoughts, right views, to see things correctly with wisdom. So when you have all these 3, you find that you are in the right direction, you don't have to worry. And you proceed further, all these, you reach a good stage where you maybe become the Sotapan, that means the first stage of Arahanthood, that you guarantee will not be reborn into the suffering state anymore. So when you reflect on this, then you are motivated, inspired to practice. I've said this many, many times, but important things have to repeat. I have been also reflecting and studying this for how many years, 30, 40 years, similar things, until the thing really changed in the mind. Now let us go on to the next one. Wise ones accept peacefully the inevitable. Inevitable means cannot be helped. Whatever you do, it will happen. Right? Like for example, now the climate is so very hot, maybe in certain places touching 40 degrees or so on, you see. So you think you can just pray and then the hot weather becomes cold weather. They are based on sets of laws and all those things, isn't it? So if you have these inevitable things, then if you are affected adversely, you every time complain, you feel terrible, you curse, you are angry, that will make it worse, your mind. You have to reflect and say, well, do the best you can and don't go out into the hot sun. And many of us are so fortunate, we have even the aircon in the rooms and so on. Or some go to supermarket aircons when it's too hot. then these two will pass, this world. So you see, many people worry because they think about the future, what is going to happen negatively lah. Yeah, I worry, right? This and this will happen, whether my son will get sick or not, will get COVID-19 or not, all those stuff. So you worry about something in the future, it's useless. Let's say you think, oh, I can change this. I will make sure my son has the precautions and he wears the mask and then washes his hand, everything, all this. You have done your part already. Then what is to come? Nobody can be sure. But you have done your best. See? And certain things you can't help it, as I say, like the hot weather and so on. Or maybe sometimes you find the thunderstorm comes and the place gets flooded. Right? So, of course, you will try to have the thing changed, or you maybe contact the authorities to ask to help, right? But then certain times, things cannot, right? So, when things cannot, then you accept more peacefully, isn't it? Like, for example, one family member has passed away already, right? So, of course, if you don't have the Dhamma, you find out the sadness, everything that can go on for a long, long time. But that is something that happens, is inevitable, right? Maybe the family member is your grandfather, and the grandfather is very old, recent things should happen. So you can't help it. You cannot say, oh, you don't die, you live another 10 years. You can't. It's inevitable. So when you understand these are natural things that happen sometimes, then you find you can accept the things better, and your mind will be more peaceful. So that's why it's very important. That's that. Very good advice. Why worry? If the thing you can change so that you have no worry, then you change it. Try to take the step to change the thing. But if the thing you cannot change, inevitable, then why worry? Right? No, worry doesn't solve it, isn't it? So that is a good piece of advice. So sometimes in life is like this. Certain things happen to you that you don't want. That is dukkha. But if you have the Dhamma, then you can cope better, you can accept it better, and you can be more peaceful. That's why I say that I always emphasize that the Dhamma is very, very important. And it will take you years and years to realize more and more. It's just not like sitting for an exam, getting all the A's, after that, bye-bye, forget about it. This has to go on and on from life to life. So this is an important aspect. Now we go on to the fourth and the last Dhamma teaching. This one is actually directly related to the story. Happening, good or bad, nobody really knows. No one can really know. You can go and contact the fortune tellers, all this. You find sometimes true, sometimes not true. Sometimes you make it worse now. And sometimes you think bad. But in the end, it turns out to be good, isn't it? And this story also shows it, isn't it? Right? You thought that you lost the horse already, let's say. If the old man thinks, and start cursing and useless, but he accepts it. Good, bad, who knows? The horse has brought back another 12. Last time I posted one very good story. A tragedy or blessing involves the sinking of the Titanic. Remember? Just to tell you shortly, there was this family, the Clark family in Scotland, a farmer with his many children and the wife. So their ambition, all this was to have enough money to sail to America, from Scotland. At that time, no aeroplane yet, I think. So they have to go by the big ship, so they were looking forward to that, So bought the ticket, got everything all ready to sail on a particular date, and the whole family will go to America where they can have a better life. That's what they think. Just about 1 week or so like that, before they had to sail, one of the sons got bitten by a dog that carried this rabies. Rabies is quite a dangerous disease. And if the dog bites you, you have this rabies, you cannot just go and can spread to other people. So got to be quarantined, kept aside, everything. Wow, so cannot go already. Whole family cannot go already because the date is so near already, and the son is still quarantined, everything, how to go? Wow, the father couldn't take it. I was so very, very angry. I think Christians start cursing the God. We work so hard. You see, everything all ready, everything. Now why you let the dog bite my son? And now he has rabies. I cannot go. The whole family cannot go. It's terrible, terrible, and so on. Right? But then the interesting question to illustrate is, good, bad, who knows? Good, bad, who knows? So what happened was, so couldn't go lah. Then they saw the ship I mean, not the son quarantined. There are other family just went to the seaside there where the ship would leave. The ship left, the steamship left to sail to America. So very sad. And then not many days later, the news came already there was an accident that happened to a ship, and that was the ship Titanic that they were supposed to get in to go to America. But because the son was quarantined, got the rabies, so he could not go. So they escaped. The Titanic, the ship that sank and so many died. So if they had gone into the ship, probably nearly all would die. Very few survivors. So now the question is, something happens, good, bad, who knows? It could come as a blessing in disguise. It was a blessing. Luckily, the son got bitten by a dog. Isn't it? So this story tells you this message very, very clearly. So I hope I have shared these important Dhamma lessons, and the story actually you might have heard, but then it's good to recapitulate, but just don't remember the story and forget all the Dhamma points. Right? So before we say sadhu 3 times, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all students, particularly in the secondary or in the colleges, they can maybe understand more. But there are some primary school students that are also very smart. Even in standard 5, standard 6, they can understand. So to all of you young people, and also the older people also, because we can learn good Dhamma, isn't it? To the parents and the grandparents, and also the teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes, I say thank you to all of you sadhu for taking time to follow this long presentation, and also to expend your energy, to use up your energy to follow with mindfulness and concentration. So we say sadhu and thank you to all of you. So now let us put our palms together and say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. To all of you who have followed this presentation, may you all be well, happy, and may you take good care of yourselves. Sadhu. Take care.